You know, life has a funny way of throwing curveballs when you least expect them. Just yesterday, I was celebrating, seriously, popping champagne, dancing like nobody was watching. Why? Because I'd just broken up with the one person on this planet who drove me absolutely bonkers, Jake. He's the kind of guy who walks away from a breakup like he just aced a final exam, all cool and collected. And me? I scoffed, feeling this immense wave of relief wash over me. Freedom! Or so I thought. Then my phone rang. A strange number. It was a bartender, voice shaking. "Ma'am," he stammered, "there's a gentleman here, just bawling his eyes out. He keeps calling your name. Any chance you could pick him up?" My jaw dropped. Jake? Crying? The guy who practically invented stoicism. My arch-nemesis, the infuriating Jake Harrison, was apparently a blubbering mess, all because of me. And that, my friends, is how my life took a U-turn into a month-long, utterly bizarre, pretend relationship with the very last person I ever expected to be with. It all started with a ridiculous dare, and boy, did it get wild. You won't believe how it ended. It was just 2 days before that fateful phone call. My best friend Mia was turning 18. To mark this momentous occasion, she wanted something spicy, something thrilling. Little did she know, I would be the one getting a full dose of spice. The game, a grown-up version of Truth or Dare. And naturally, my luck ran out. I pulled the card. Date anyone in this room for a month. The room erupted. Cheers, hoots, whistles, the kind that rattle the windows. I scanned the faces. Not gonna lie, a few decent-looking options in the crowd. I shrugged, already plotting my escape. Fine, I'll date someone. I was about to pick some sweet, harmless guy when Mia, my thrill-seeking friend, chimed in. "Hold on. If we're gonna play, let's play big. Choose sleep with someone instead." I rolled my eyes. "What do you have in mind, Mia?" She grinned, that mischievous glint in her eyes. "Easy. Every single guy here, if they're unattached, plucks an eyelash. Put them in a box, you pick one, and whoever's eyelash it is, you date them for a month." At first, I thought it was hilarious. Watching these grown men awkwardly pluck their eyelashes behind a makeshift screen was truly comical. But then Jake stood up. "Wait, Jake? Why's he going?" I whispered. "He's single too, isn't he?" someone replied. Jake turned, a chilling smile on his face. "If you pick me, you're dead." A shiver ran down my spine. "Don't pick him, don't pick him," I chanted internally. Jake and I had a history, a long, complicated history of mutual dislike, competitive banter, and enough eye rolls to power a small city. Dating him would be pure torture. The eyelashes were collected in record time. Mia, looking like a giddy royal attendant, presented a tray with 7 tiny, delicate strands. They were all different lengths, some thick, some fine. My eyes landed on one. "Why's this one wet?" I mused aloud. "Did someone cry?" Mia, clearly impatient, urged me on. "Just pick one already." Eyelashes, it turns out, are surprisingly hard to identify. But that wet one, something about it called to me. "I'll take the wet one," I declared, "because a man's tears are my ultimate aphrodisiac." Mia's gaze darted to the number beside the eyelash. "Who's number 4?" she asked. Silence. She asked again, a third time. Then, from across the room, I heard it. A crumpled piece of paper hitting a trash can, followed by a low, frustrated curse. It was Jake. Suddenly, everyone understood. My eyes locked with his. He looked up, his expression a mix of surprise and something else. Something that looked suspiciously like a faint red tinge around his eyes from where the eyelash had been plucked. And they were glistening. My ultimate aphrodisiac, indeed. Except for some reason, Jake's glistening eyes didn't quite have the effect I expected. Instead, a wave of confusion washed over me. And so, my month-long relationship with Jake began, emphasis on the quotation marks. After only a few days, I was ready to throw in the towel. Why? Because Jake Harrison was, to put it mildly, a colossal pain in the neck. The rules of this insane game were simple. No matter how much Jake and I despised each other in private, if any of the witnesses from that night were present, we had to act like a couple. Otherwise, back to hating each other. My brilliant solution? Avoid our friends like the plague for the entire month. I was committed. Jake, on the other hand, not so much. Day 2 of our faux romance, I woke up to a text. "Babe, had breakfast yet?" My jaw nearly hit the floor. "Did you take the wrong meds?" I shot back. His reply was instant, calm, and utterly infuriating. "Liam's with me." Liam was one of our friends, a key witness. So I swallowed my pride, deleted my previous text, and forced a saccharine-sweet reply. "Not yet, honey. Did you?" "Come downstairs. Let's eat together," he commanded. After the most awkward breakfast of my life, Jake suggested we go to the library. With Liam there, I couldn't exactly tell him to shove it. "Can't," I lied. "I'm meeting my roommate for some shopping." Liam, ever the enabler, chimed in. "What kind of girlfriend goes shopping without her boyfriend? Jake can carry your bags, pay for everything. Sounds like the perfect shopping companion to me." I shot Jake a pleading look. "Say something." He just calmly pulled out his wallet and swiped his card. I swear, I thought his brain was broken. I pretended to agree, and as soon as Liam was out of earshot, I dragged Jake into a small, secluded grove. "What's wrong with you?" I hissed. "Didn't we agree to avoid them this month?" He looked at me with an angelic, innocent expression. "Liam's right next door. How am I supposed to avoid him?" "Figure it out," I snapped. "We can't actually date." He looked at me, his gaze intense. "If you're so unwilling, why did you agree to play the game in the first place?" "I didn't know I'd be dating you," I retorted. His face darkened instantly. "Would you be willing if it were someone else?" I stayed silent. He fumed. "Too late. You're stuck with me now. Prepare to suffer." And suffer I did. Jake launched a full-scale assault on my peace of mind. He was constantly with Liam, or another witness, forcing me to maintain our fake relationship. If I dared to give him the slightest cold shoulder, he'd go straight to our group chat and whine. "My girlfriend's being cold today." Cue the explosion of messages. "What happened? You guys just started dating. Aren't you in the honeymoon phase? Chloe, you're not playing by the rules." I'd scramble to defend myself. "Girlfriends can get mad, can't they? I'm allowed to hate him." "Fine, fine, fine. Jake, go apologize to her." "Jake, your girlfriend's mad. Go apologize." And just like that, Jake, like a puppet on a string, would publicly send me voice messages in the group chat. "Babe, please don't be mad, okay?" I'm not exaggerating when I say I got goosebumps. The whole group, clearly enjoying Jake's sudden display of affection, erupted in hoots and hollers. I practically threw my phone across the room. I tried to bury myself in work, anything to escape the sheer embarrassment of "babe." But it was no use. That word haunted my dreams. The next morning, with dark circles under my eyes, I cornered Jake. "We're breaking up," I declared. "But it's not even been a month," he began. "I'll tell them myself," I interrupted, my voice firm. "This game is too much. I can't do it." He looked at me a long, piercing gaze, then turned away with a dismissive shrug. "Fine, break up. Who cares?" I let out a sigh of relief. Regardless of his attitude, it was finally over. I didn't have a boyfriend, so no relationship drama to deal with. I curled up in my dorm, pulled the covers over my head, and fell into a blissful, dreamless sleep. My phone ringing jolted me awake. Still groggy, I answered. "Hello, is this Jake Harrison's girlfriend?" a polite voice asked. "No," I mumbled, "I'm not." Even as I said it, I chuckled. Was I, or wasn't I? The voice on the other end was formal, almost apologetic. "He's crying nonstop. Would you mind coming to pick him up?" My eyes shot open. Huh? I couldn't help my surprise. Crying was the last word I'd ever associate with Jake. He was handsome, yes, but not in a soft, delicate way. He was the most mature among us, always focused, even negotiating major business deals before college exams. Him crying and non-stop? Impossible. Skeptical, I headed to the bar. The manager, clearly frazzled, had someone waiting at the door to escort me in. Jake was in a corner, surrounded by a crowd of curious onlookers. What I saw shocked me. Jake, still in the white shirt he wore during our breakup, was clutching a bottle, his eyelids red and swollen from crying. He wasn't wailing, he was just sitting there, silently, lips pressed together like a stubborn child holding back sobs. Occasionally, a choked gasp would escape him. It was heartbreaking. Finally, I understood why so many people were gathered around him. He cried beautifully. There was a delicate, fragile quality to his sadness that was almost enchanting. I mentally slapped myself. Stop it. I walked over. "Jake, it's me. What's wrong?" He looked up, his eyes hazy with tears and alcohol. That single glance made my heart pound. I quickly looked away, asking the manager how much he'd had to drink. "Just one bottle," he replied, shaking his head. If we'd known his tolerance was so low, we'd never have served him. I knelt beside Jake. "Do you even know who I am?" He just kept crying. "What's going on? You're not usually like this." He didn't answer, but the manager did. "He doesn't want to break up with you." His voice was almost pleading. "Please don't break up with him. Look at him. Please comfort him." The crowd joined in. "Yeah, yeah." I had a feeling there was more to it, but I played along. "If you don't want to break up, we won't." Jake still didn't react, but the crowd was getting restless. They offered unsolicited advice on how to comfort a crying boyfriend. With so many eyes on me, how could I? "Can I take you home?" I asked Jake. This time, he reacted. A small nod, surprisingly docile. My heart fluttered. As the bar owner helped him into my car, I couldn't shake the thought, am I attracted to crying Jake? Am I a weirdo? It was past dorm curfew, so I had no choice but to take him to my apartment downtown. Luckily, he passed out in the car and stopped crying. When he woke up, he was a little hazy but incredibly obedient. I told him to drink water, and he drank. I told him to wash his face, and he did. Even when I told him to go to bed, he meekly complied. This docile side of Jake was almost too much for me. My perverse curiosity kicked in. I pointed my phone at him and hit record. "Jake," I instructed, "repeat after me." He was curled up in my soft duvet, peering at me. I said, "Jake is a dummy." He echoed, "Jake is a dummy." I chuckled, "Jake is a crybaby." He repeated, "Jake is a crybaby." Suddenly, I wanted to know if drunk Jake was conscious. "Jake likes Chloe," I said. He paused, then repeated, "Jake likes Chloe." So, he's totally unconscious, I thought. After all, this was the same Jake who claimed to hate me. I suddenly lost interest, put my phone away. "Go to sleep," I told him, turning off the bedroom light. The next morning, Jake had breakfast ready for me. He was still in his white shirt and black pants from yesterday. His shirt was wrinkled, a button missing from his left cuff. His hair was messy, but with his face, it somehow gave him a charming, disheveled nobleman look. He placed hot milk on the table. "Thanks for letting me stay last night," he said. He was clearly sober. I walked over, took a bite of my sandwich, then couldn't help but ask, "Why were you crying last night?" His voice was flat. "I don't want to talk about it." "Was it because we broke up?" He looked up. "We weren't really together. Why would I be sad?" My focus shifted. "So, if we were really together, would you be sad if we broke up?" Jake faltered. He slowly finished his sandwich, then turned the question back on me. "Will we ever actually be together?" No. We both knew the answer. He hated me, and I didn't like him much either. I lowered my head, taking another bite of my sandwich, trying to swallow the irritation. What was he so arrogant about? I deliberately said, "Last night, when you were drunk, you said you liked me." Jake choked on his food, his face turning red. "No way," he sputtered. "Video proof," I said, showing him the clip. After watching it, he calmly said, "You forced me to say that." "No, I didn't." "Yes, you did," he countered, nodding at the video. I retorted angrily, "Then why didn't you say you liked Liam when I told you to?" He suddenly fell silent. I stared at him, full of suspicion. "Were you actually drunk last night?" "Yes," he replied, "but nobody said being drunk means you have to have amnesia." He seemed to be changing the subject, or perhaps not. "I also know what you did to me last night." "I didn't do anything." He said, his tone light and skeptical. "You always say you hate me, but when I'm drunk, you can't stop showing affection. Is that nothing?" He suddenly leaned closer. "Could it be that you secretly like me?" "No way," I protested, my voice probably not loud enough to sound convincing. A faint smile touched Jake's lips in the charged silence. Then, both our phones lit up with a message from our friends group chat. "Add everyone. Clear your schedules this weekend. My brother's friend just finished building a new resort in Kisa Mountain. We're going for 2 days." "Ooh, I want to go to the hot springs." "I heard it's a couple's paradise there. Are there going to be little couples everywhere?" "Who cares about couples? We have one too." At Jake Harrison, at Chloe Miller, little couple, come talk. Jake looked surprised. "You didn't tell them we broke up?" "Didn't get a chance," I replied. "Are you going to tell them now?" he asked. I looked at him. "Do you want me to?" "No," he said. Before I could process the meaning of his no, he explained, "I don't want them to say I'm a sore loser." Right. The unspoken rules of this ridiculous game were still in play. "How about we don't break up for now?" I suggested. "Whatever you want," Jake said, his face indifferent, as if dating or breaking up meant nothing to him. I gritted my teeth in frustration. Perhaps it was Jake's infuriating demeanor during the day, but that night, he invaded my dreams. It was him, back in 11th grade, sitting on my desk, chatting with a guy who was trying to confess his feelings to me. "What's so great about Chloe?" he'd sneer. "She's temperamental, always causing trouble, and such a princess. Can you really handle it?" Back then, I would have run away, unable to bear Jake putting me down like that. But in the dream, I stayed, and I heard the rest of his sentence. His voice was sincere, almost pleading. "I can handle it, so please, for the love of all that is holy, give her to me." I woke up with a gasp, still in disbelief. Was I really dreaming that Jake liked me? Did I have to rely on my imagination for him to like me? I was still reeling when a text from Jake popped up. "Girlfriend, wanna grab lunch later?" I typed, "Is Liam with you again?" "Yup," he replied. "Otherwise, why would I call you that?" I furiously threw my phone. In that moment, I was a whirlwind of anger, resentment, and a burning desire for revenge. "Oh, you hate me, Jake Harrison? I'll find every way to seduce you. And when you're completely smitten, I'll dump you so hard you won't know what hit you. Let's see how cool and composed you are then." The weekend arrived, beautiful weather, and our group descended upon the Kisa Mountain Resort. Liam, ever the dutiful attendance taker, suddenly frowned. "Where's Mia?" Mia, the instigator of our twisted game. "Getting the room keys," someone replied. Soon, Mia returned, handing out keys. When she got to me and Jake, she only had one left. Liam was confused. "Why do you have an extra key?" "The receptionist only gave me this many," she said, placing the single key between Jake and me. "How about our little couple shares a room?" Jake immediately recoiled. He stood up. "I'll go get another key." "Come on, share a room," I said to his retreating back. "Boyfriend, aren't you brave enough?" A chorus of ooh and ah erupted. "Are you two for real? Chloe, I thought you couldn't stand Jake. When did you two fall for each other? We didn't say you had to go that far." "Little couple, know your limits. Don't get pregnant." Jake turned back amidst the teasing. I met his gaze defiantly. He let out a sigh. "You really want to share a room with me?" "Of course," I said. Jake finally capitulated. He looked like a shy bride, dragging both our suitcases behind him, trailing after me. I walked ahead, occasionally glancing back to see his pained expression. I couldn't help but laugh. This was just the beginning. Once inside the room, Jake seemed utterly uncomfortable. Maybe it was our friend's incessant teasing getting to him, or maybe it was just the sheer size of the bed. Whatever it was, Jake looked like a boiled shrimp, bright red. "What's wrong?" I asked him. He fanned himself. "It's hot," I smirked. "Then take off your shirt." Jake's fanning stopped. Suddenly, it's not hot anymore. I stifled a laugh, took my suitcase from him, and sat on the floor to unpack. Jake paced the room, his agitated footsteps betraying his unease. He suddenly stopped in front of me. "Why did you want us to share a room?" I blinked. "We're a couple now, aren't we? Isn't it normal to share a room?" Jake hesitated. I used his own words against him. "You're not brave enough?" "What do I have to be afraid of?" Jake said, and seemed to calm down, starting to unpack his own suitcase. The sheer white curtains by the window fluttered in the breeze. I noticed a private hot spring tub right outside. "There's one in the room, too," I said curiously. "Want to soak together tonight?" Crash! Jake's suitcase clattered to the floor. He didn't bother to pick it up, didn't even look at me. He just ran out of the room. I couldn't help but mumble, "That was quite a reaction, huh?" At this rate, getting him to like me would be a piece of cake, wouldn't it? My mood was excellent, and I hummed to myself. My friends were calling, inviting me to the public hot springs. My eyes drifted to the 2 swimsuits I'd packed. One was a black 2-piece, very little fabric, definitely on the sexy side. I'd packed it specifically to entice Jake. If he wasn't around, I'd have worn the pale yellow 1-piece. But just as I finished changing, Jake returned. He stared at me for 3 agonizing seconds, then abruptly turned his back, tilting his head back, hand covering his nose. That reaction! I instinctively looked down at myself. Aside from my arms and legs, I wasn't exposed anywhere. I actually regretted not wearing the sexy one. I could have dealt him a fatal blow. "Sorry," Jake mumbled, his voice hoarse. "I didn't know you were changing." "I'm done changing," I said irritably. Jake still wouldn't turn around. "Mia and everyone couldn't reach you. They told me to call you. They're going to the hot springs." "Oh, I'll be right there." Jake pulled a bathrobe from the closet, tossed it at me. "Put this on and go." I grabbed the tie, slowly walked to him. "Why won't you look at me?" Jake stammered, "There's nothing to see." I deliberately teased him. "But you're bleeding from your nose." Jake frantically touched his nose, only to find nothing there. I laughed, patting his shoulder. "Just kidding." In Jake's dazed eyes, I calmly walked out of the room. When I reached the hot springs, Mia and everyone were already there. "Chloe, come on in," someone called. I took off my bathrobe, placed it aside, and stepped into the water, immediately greeted by a barrage of compliments. "Oh my God, you're so pale. How can you have such a full bust, tiny waist, and perky butt? I'm so jealous." "Chloe, are you going for innocent and sexy today? How can this pale yellow look so alluring on you?" Did Jake see you? Did Jake see you? I bet he didn't, otherwise he wouldn't be so shy. I leaned against the rock wall of a hot spring, sighing. What does this have to do with Jake? Of course it does. You two are a couple now, my friends chirped, fully immersed in their roles. I was truly speechless. After more chatter, my friends suddenly wanted to take selfies. My bathrobe was the closest, so I grabbed my phone for them. We laughed and took pictures. Then came the part where we picked photos to post. I was relaxing in the water when I heard a familiar voice next to my ear. Jake, repeat after me. Jake is a dummy. Jake is a dummy. A chorus of "oh my gods" erupted. I frantically tried to snatch my phone back, but the more I rushed, the slower I became. I could only watch, horrified, as they watched the entire video. One friend, who found the video first, winced. "Chloe, sorry, I thought there were more pictures before this." "It's fine," I managed, finally grabbing my phone, my heart pounding, and quickly turning off the screen. The gossip experts immediately swarmed me. "Oh my God, what was that video? Was that really Jake in the video? The arrogant, cold Jake? Oh my God, he's so cute. He cried? How can he be so handsome when he cries? Are you two really dating?" I tried to clarify, focusing on the key points. "We're not dating yet. That video was when he was drunk." I struggled to explain my motives for recording it. I was just worried he'd annoy me later, so I kept it as evidence. My friend's focus shifted again. Was he really drunk? He didn't look drunk to me. That was clearly a seduction attempt. Look, he even took the chance to confess. I originally thought he was genuinely crying, but now I think those red eyes look more like crying makeup. Oh my God, Jake is so cunning. I quickly cut off their wild theories. No, he really cried. You don't believe me? His personality? How could he cry? I don't believe it. He must have known you liked crying guys, so he deliberately cried for you. Don't believe it. No matter what you say, I don't believe you. I sighed, a forced smile on my face. It's just a game. How could Jake be trying to seduce me? Besides, the reality was even more absurd. I was currently trying to seduce him. My friends dropped the topic. On the way back to the room from the hot springs, Mia suddenly pulled me aside. She stammered. "Jake, he might actually be trying to seduce you, you know?" She lowered her voice. "Back when we were picking eyelashes, I saw Jake deliberately wait until his eyes were watery before he plucked his eyelash." She added, "He seems to know you'd pick the wet one." My mind exploded. The fact that I had a thing for crying boys wasn't exactly a secret. Whenever I read a novel or watched a drama where the male lead cried for love, my heart would do this strange electric flutter. That bittersweet, electrifying sensation always left me flustered when I saw a man cry. I'd obsessed over it, posting on my personal page, on social media, anywhere I could think of. A man's tears are my aphrodisiac. So it was possible Jake knew. But to say he cried to seduce me? It seemed unlikely. After all, his hatred for me was a known fact. Still, after mulling it over, I decided to test him. I waited in the room, trying to come up with a way to probe him, but I waited until midnight, then 1 in the morning, and Jake still hadn't returned. I couldn't help but text him. "Where are you?" He didn't reply to my text, but he did eventually return to the room. I was already in bed. He seemed hesitant to face me, always looking away. "Liam invited me to play games all night. I was with him," he said, grabbing a hotel pillow. I pushed the pillow down. "Doesn't his room have extra pillows?" "It does." Jake dropped the pillow as if it burned him. He glanced at me. "I just came to tell you I'm not sleeping here tonight." It was clearly a made-up excuse. As his retreating figure grew smaller, I blurted out, "But I don't feel well." Jake stopped. "Jake," I continued, "I don't feel well." He turned, came to my bedside, and leaned down, looking at my cheek. "Where don't you feel well?" "I don't know," I whispered. "Just not well." I pulled further into the covers, my voice carrying a hint of coyness that even I didn't recognize. Jake reached out, hesitated for a moment, then said, "Let me feel your forehead." I bravely let him. "It's fine, no fever," he concluded. "What did you eat tonight? Was something off?" "I ate with Mia and everyone," I said. "I don't think so." "We should still call a doctor," Jake said, still worried. I grabbed his hand just as he reached for his phone. "No need," I whispered. "Just stay here with me." Jake's wrist seemed to burn in my hand. His lips parted, but he said nothing, just pulled a chair next to my bed and sat down. "Okay, you sleep. I'll watch over you." I turned my head to look at him. Jake was looking down, not at me, but his ears were bright red. In that moment, I actually had the illusion that he really liked me. I chatted with him. "Did you shower?" "Yes." "In Liam's room?" "Yes." "Why didn't you shower in our room?" Jake choked. "It's all the same." "Do you hate our bathroom because I used it?" "How could I?" "But you do. You're making excuses. You don't even want to sleep in the same room as me, and tonight you plan to play games all night with Liam." "No, I didn't," Jake stammered, coughing. "So, do you like me?" Jake suddenly looked up. "Why are you asking that?" I feigned sadness. "There's no game, is there? You just don't want to be with me." With that, I turned my back to him. "I knew it. You hate me. You hate sharing a room with me. I know it all." "Go play with Liam. It's fine. I'm not that upset. Go on. Don't worry about me." "No," Jake whispered, his voice choked. "How could I hate you?" "But you do." Silence filled the room. I was afraid I wouldn't be able to hold back my laughter. Jake spoke softly. "The way you are with me, I just can't hold back." "Hold back what?" I turned to look at him. Jake suddenly lunged forward. One hand braced beside me, the other cupped my chin, and he kissed me deeply. His breath enveloped me. His ragged breathing made my face flush. When the kiss ended, Jake's voice was hoarse. "Holding back from kissing you." Even with the obvious signs, I couldn't resist asking, "Why did you kiss me?" Jake said solemnly, "Chloe, I like you." I blinked. I hadn't expected him to confess right then. So, my seduction had worked? Jake froze for a moment, then chuckled. "So, you really were trying to seduce me?" I raised an eyebrow. He reached out and tucked the strands of hair disheveled by the kiss behind my ear. Only then did he say, "But I like you, not because you tried to seduce me." He seemed unable to resist, leaning down to kiss me again. "Even if you didn't try to seduce me, I'd still like you." I pushed him away gently. "Tell me clearly first, don't be a pervert." Jake laughed and sat back on the chair. His eyes shone brightly as he looked at me. I, on the other hand, felt a blush creeping up my neck. I decided to make the first move. "When did you start liking me?" Jake, in that moment, was utterly captivating. "It started," he began, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper, "the day you told me I was your arch-nemesis." He chuckled, a deep, rumbling sound that made my stomach flutter. "You see, Chloe, most people shrink away from a challenge. Most people would try to avoid the enemy. But you leaned into it. You were feisty, quick-witted, and utterly relentless in your attempts to annoy me." He paused, a wistful smile playing on his lips. "I remember the time in 11th grade you caught me off guard with that 'what's so great about Chloe' comment. I was trying to ward off other guys, not because I disliked you, but because I was terrified of admitting, even to myself, that I was falling for you. I wanted to protect you from anyone I thought wasn't good enough, and ironically, I thought I wasn't good enough. I knew you'd never go for the brooding, arrogant guy who argued with you constantly." He leaned forward, his eyes twinkling. Then came the eyelash game. When Mia made that ridiculous suggestion, I saw my chance. I knew about your fascination with crying boys. You weren't exactly subtle about it on social media. So I waited. I thought if she's going to pick an eyelash, it might as well be one she'll remember. I squeezed out a tear. It was humiliating, honestly. But when you picked it, when you said a man's tears are my aphrodisiac, my heart soared. I knew then that this ridiculous game was my ticket in. Every time I showed up with Liam, every babe text, every public display of affection, it was all calculated. I knew it annoyed you, but I also knew it forced you to spend time with me, to acknowledge me as something more than just your enemy. And when you suggested we share a room at the resort, I nearly fainted. I was so conflicted. Part of me, the stoic Jake, wanted to run, but the other part, the part that was utterly smitten with you, knew this was my opportunity. He reached out, taking my hand, his thumb gently caressing my palm. And then, tonight, when you said you didn't feel well, when you pulled into your covers and spoke to me with that tiny, vulnerable voice, I couldn't take it anymore. All the pretense, all the games, all the hate I tried to project, it shattered. Because the truth is, Chloe, I don't hate you. I never did. I've been secretly, hopelessly in love with you for years. His confession hung in the air, a breathtaking symphony of honesty and vulnerability. My mind replayed every snarky comment, every petty argument, every forced interaction, suddenly seeing them in a completely new light. It wasn't hatred, it was a clumsy, desperate dance of two people too proud, too stubborn, and too afraid to admit their true feelings. Jake, my arch-nemesis, the boy I swore I despised, was now looking at me with an adoration so profound it left me breathless. He wasn't the arrogant, cold facade I'd always known. He was a complex, vulnerable man who had orchestrated an elaborate month-long charade just to be close to me. And in that moment, surrounded by the quiet hum of the night, I realized something truly profound. Sometimes, the greatest love stories aren't the ones that start with a spark, but the ones that ignite in the most unexpected places, even in the midst of a ridiculous game of truth or dare with your supposed enemy. And as he leaned in to kiss me again, this time without any pretense or forced rules, I knew that my life, once so neatly divided into me and my enemy, was now irrevocably intertwined with his, and I wouldn't have it any other way.